Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you to our next Bhagavad Gita session. As a recap, the objective of this class is to enable reading the shlok, to understand the meaning of the shlok, and to help understand the basic philosophy of Gita. We are on chapter 2, and the name of the chapter is Contents of Gita Summarized. We are now on the 5th section of chapter 2. In the first section, we have seen Arjun's indecision and accepting Lord Krishna as his guru. So it was very clear that if we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, then we have to actually basically surrender ourselves to Krishna. If we don't surrender, then it is very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita. And then in the second section, that is from shlok number 11 to 30, it is Gyan and Sankhya Yoga, which is we learned about analysis of body and soul. Yeah, it's a very, very important understanding, because if we don't understand that, we are soul and we are actually in this body. When you say, who am I? I'm actually the soul who is in a journey, and our final destination is back to Godhead. And we have taken this body as because we had a desire to enjoy in this material world, right? But we all are actually a spiritual element. We are basically the part and parcel of Krishna, right? So Gyan Yoga, understanding that body and soul, the difference, and that our real identity is of that of a soul, right? That's very important. Then we talked about shlok number 31 to 37, where we talked about the Sakam Karm Yoga, which is basically Karm Kand. And what Krishna told Arjuna at that point, he ended this Sakam Karm Yoga by saying that you have to do your duty, and whatever happen, either if you die, you will achieve a higher planet, that is Swarga, and if you are alive, anyway, you will enjoy the entire world, right? So this is Sakam Karma Yoga. Basically, it's doing your prescribed duty. That's Karm Kand. And then 38 to 53, we talked about Nishkam Karm Yoga. So normally when we talk about Karm Yoga, it talks about the Nishkam Karm Yoga, right? And that talks about do your work without attachment. So we have to do our work with detachment and without any expecting the results, right? Karmani vadika raste ma phaleshu kadachana. We read about that. And after all these things, in the 5th section, Krishna is talking about Sthit Pragya. Sthit is steady and Pragya is intelligent. Who is an intelligent person? Yeah. And here it started by, or we can also say, what are the qualities of a liberated soul? This started by Arjun asking, as Krishna ended in the 53rd shlok, talking about, if you do this, then such people have got divine consciousness. Divine consciousness means they are very intelligent. So then Arjun is asking, what do you mean by divine consciousness? How can you say? What are the symptoms of a person who has a divine consciousness? That is a question Arjun asked Krishna. Then he talks about how does such a person speaks? How does such a person talk? And how such a person walks? This is what Arjun asks Krishna. And then Krishna started explaining about the qualities of a Sthit Pragya. He talks about the symptoms that, he's detached. And then he talks about how does he speaks, talk. And now where we are is, what we are going to cover today is the last quality, that is, how does he walk? And when we say how does he walk, it means how does he engage his senses. And then we'll be talking about the glories of chapter 2 from Padma Puran. Yeah. So in the last when he talks about how does he talk, it is how does he control his senses. And then we learned about that he has a complete, it is basically he's more like a tortoise where he draws his senses internally. And then we talked about the flow chart, how exactly the whole thing happens. What is the flow chart? Whenever we have a desire, whenever we, when we need something and we have a desire in a material sense, we are attached, keep on thinking about it. And when we keep on thinking about it, whatever is the sense object that we are thinking about, we get attached to that sense object. We get attached to that some subject. And when we get attached, what happens? In our heart, we have desires to achieve it. We have a desire to achieve it, desire or lust to get that. And we don't get that, what will happen? We'll get angry. It will result into angry. We'll get angry. And because of angry, what happens? We get delusion. We start thinking something wrong. And then because of which our memory gets bewildered. And when our memory gets bewildered, what happens? We lose our buddhi, we lose our intelligence, and we fall down. So this is how Krishna explains. And this is what we covered also in the last class. So now let us go to the last section of Sthit Pragya, as how does he walk? It is how does he control how does he engage his senses? And then from Shlok number 64 onwards till 71, he'll be talking about how does he engage his senses. And what we covered last time, this Shlok number 64, we talked about Rag Dvesh Muktastu Vishandriyas Chana Atma Vaishyar Vidheyatma Prasadam Adhikachati. We read that but a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of Lord. We talked about how the person gets the mercy of Lord, that is prasad. And then we talked about because of the prasad, prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasya vajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi prayavattishtita. We talked about because of the mercy of Lord, what happens? All the threefold miseries get destroyed. It gets destroyed, and then Prasanna Chit is consciousness. He becomes very, very happy in Krishna consciousness, and then he has a fixed intelligence. He gets his intelligence gets soon established, right? And we talked about Bhagavatam and Vedvyas. Then we talked about what will happen, the person who is not ayukt, who is not attached to Krishna, what will happen? Nasti buddhi rayuktasya na chayuktasya bhavana na cha bhavata shanti ashantasya kutha sukham. We talked about sukh. How will you get? Someone who is not attached, someone who is not yukt, he's ayukt, what will happen? Neither he'll have the right intelligence, neither he will have the right steady mind, and because of that he will not have shanti, and without shanti how can he have a happiness, right? This we talked about. And then we were on the last Shlok 67, where in the Shlok 67 we talked about Indriyanam hi cheta. So let's read this Shlok again. We'll go to Shlok number 67. Please repeat after me. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano vidhiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambhasi. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidhiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambhasi. So it talks about Indriyani Charatam, our sense organs. Indriyanam is basically our sense organs. Charitam is char. Char is moving. Char is moving. Achar is fixed. So even if a single sense is moving, it's roaming, then what will happen? Then, and it doesn't have the control on mind, then it will harati pragya. It will take away your intelligence. Even if you allow one of your senses to be roaming, then what will happen? If it is not under control, your intelligence will get lost, because of that senses, you will actually lose your control on that, right? And then let's read the meaning of it. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Yeah. So read the verse. Indriyanam hi charitam yanmano anuvidhiyate tadasya haratim pragyam vayurnavam ivambhasi. So here, Krishna, we have already read about examples of Saubhar Muni, right? So Saubhar Muni, what did he do? He wanted to do his meditation, wanted to control his senses. And what did he do? He thought that this world, this material world is not the right, this place is not the right place on the land. He actually went under the water to do the meditation, penance. Yeah. But what happened? Because although he wanted the control, but what happened? One of his senses, his eyes saw the mating fish, and then he lost his control. We talked about that. So even if you allow one, whatever, unless your mind is fully controlled, even if you go to Himalayas, even unless your mind is controlled, your senses are controlled, even if you go to Himalayas, you think that you will be able to do meditation? No. So whether you are at home, whether you are at Himalaya, whether you are under the water, what you need to practice is mind control. Practice, and that is, you have to practice to control your senses. You have to control your senses. And the example, Sabar Muni, he lost his control just by one sense, which is eyes. His eyes saw the two fish mating, and he had fallen down, right? Now, just like even with a single sense organs, if it's roaming and you not have control, it can make you fall down. Even if you have one sense, even if you allow one sense to be completely committed to Krishna, you will actually move up. You will actually work. The way, if your one sense, so basically you have to control. But even if one sense is fully dedicated to Krishna, you will move up, and you'll be able to control your remaining senses. You can practice that. So I'll tell you the story of Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah. So we know who Parikshit Maharaj is. Okay, this story is from Bhagavatam. The story is from Bhagavatam. So we all know Arjun. Arjun's son was Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu married Uttara. We all remember the story of Virat. We talked about king of Virat on the 13th year of their Agyatvas. They were in the Virat kingdom, and there Arjun actually became a dance teacher, right? And he was teaching dance to Uttara. And King Virat wanted Uttara to marry Arjun, and basically Arjun proposed Abhimanyu, and Uttara and Abhimanyu got married. And then we know what happened in Mahabharat war. Yeah. So Abhimanyu made a view chakra. Which chakra view he made, which no one was able to. Finally, it was, they were able to. He entered. Abhimanyu entered, but he could not. He never knew how to come out, and he was actually killed. Abhimanyu was killed. Now, at that point of time, and also in the Mahabharat, what happened? All the sons of Draupadi, Subhadra, everyone was killed. Everyone was killed. And the only heir that was remaining in the whole thing was Uttara's son. And Uttara was pregnant. She was having. And what happened is, Ashwatthama got very, very angry, and he actually had allowed the Brahmastra on to ensure that even Parikshit, who was inside Uttara's womb, should be killed. But Krishna went inside and saved Parikshit. Now this Parikshit, when the Pandavas left, he became the Uttaradhikari. He ascended the throne. Yeah. He was supposed to be a very, very, very pious king, very, very good king. And at that point of time, Krishna also left. So basically, the Treta Yuga was ending and Kali Yuga was coming. Now, because of Parikshit Maharaj, Kali Yuga could not enter because he was so pious, so good. Yeah. But then what happened? Finally, there was a fight, and Parikshit allowed Kali Yuga to come, and there were some conditions, and Kali Yuga allowed. Parikshit said, okay, you can go and stay wherever a lot of gold and money is there. So Kali Yuga, he allowed that Kali Yuga can go and stay wherever there is a lot of gold and a lot of money is there, because that is the thing, Lakshmi, that is the thing which will actually make you fall down if you are not using it in the right way. And what Kali Yuga did? Kali Yuga actually sat on the head of Parikshit Maharaj because he was wearing the gold crown. Now Parikshit Maharaj had went, and he was actually doing hunting in the forest. He was hunting in the forest, and because although he was such a wise king, but because of the prabhav of effect of Kali Yuga, what happened? He lost his wiseness, and what happened? He was actually very tired, he was very thirsty, and in that situation he was searching for water, and he went to one of the Rishi's ashram, Shramik Rishi's ashram. He went there. Now the Rishi was full in meditation. He did not realize that Parikshit Maharaj had come, and he did not welcome him. And what Parikshit Maharaj did? He waited, but he got angry, and he took a dead snake, and he threw on the neck of Shramik Rishi. He did that. Now, his son, Shamik Rishi son, whose name was Shringi Rishi, he was a small boy. He was actually playing in the river some far away. And some of the friends who saw this scene, they ran and told Shringi Rishi that, your father, someone has insulted your father. And this small boy looking at that, he said, whoever has insulted, how can he do that? And I am cursing that person that within 7 days he will actually meet his death. Yeah. And saying that Shringi boy, Rishi, he came running to his father, and he saw the snake in his father's neck. So he became angry and started crying. Shringi Rishi was crying. Now seeing that, the Shamik Rishi's meditation, he broke, and what happened? He just put away the snake and asked. He said, how can he do that? And then I have cursed the person who is doing it, and he will die in 7 days. And then he's saying, how dare you do that? Because of him, Kali Yuga has not dared to enter us. Yeah. And you have done such a big mistake. So what he started, he said, you should not get angry. If you are a real Rishi, you cannot get angry. How could you do that? And also I know that you cannot undo he was such a pious, Shringi Rishi was such a pious Rishi that he could not undo his curse, right? So what he did, he went to Parikshit Maharaj and offered obeisances and told that this has happened. And from now, next 7 days, you are going to die. So Parikshit Maharaj, although he had the power to curse back, but he knew that he had done a mistake, and he also realized that it is because of the Kali effect that he has done that mistake. And then the dharma has to come. You can't stop. So he didn't say, but then he called all the rishis and said, okay, now I have only 7 days to live. At least I know that I have 7 days to live. None of us know how long we are going to live, right? So at least I know I have 7 days to live. What is the right way to spend your life? And I would like to spend my life the 7 days like this. And then everyone told, the rishis said, the only way to live your life is dedicate your life to Krishna. So he left everything. He went to near the bank of Ganga. He sat there and started meditating. And there was a huge rishi. They all had come from everywhere. And then finally, Sukdev Goswami, who is the son of Vedvyas. And Vedvyas had written Bhagavatam. I told about that story last time. So Vedvyas had written Bhagavatam. And now Sukdev Goswami started telling Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And he, without stopping for next 7 days, he kept on listening to Bhagavatam for 7 days, non-stop, to Sukdev Goswami. And then what happened? After 7 days, it was the Takshak Nag who came and he bit, and finally Parikshit Maharaj went to Golak Vrindavan, right? So that is the power. By hearing, you can actually get, if you engage even your one sense, so by hearing, he actually got the salvation. So that is the story of Parikshit Maharaj. So now we go to the next shlok. Tasmadasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhya tasya pragya pratisthita tasmadasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhya tasya pragya pratisthita. Kritika. Tasmadasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratisthita. So now Krishna is saying, so how difficult it is to control your senses. We have read about that, right? We talked about Indriyani Pramathini Harate Prasabha Mana. Now, like the senses are so strong that it can forcibly carry away our mind. We read that in the 60th shlok. Then we talked about Indriyanam Hi Charitam. Last shlok we read about, even if one sense, roaming sense, is not under control, what will happen? It can take away your senses, right? So he says, Tasmat. Now Krishna is saying to Arjun, that is why, therefore, Mahabaho. Who is Mahabaho? Mahabaho is Arjun. Mahabaho is Arjun. Nigrihitani. Nigrihitani is restrained. Sarvasha, always restrained. What your Indriyani Irthyarthebhya. Indriyani is your senses. Indriyarthebhya is your sense object. Tasya pragya pradesham. And that is the one, that is the man of intelligence. So let's read the meaning. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained, from their objects, is certainly of steady intelligence. So that is here. So basically, we know that how difficult it is to control senses. We have read in the previous shlokas also, and we have said that that to control, what we need to do, we have to have a higher taste. In general, if you want to control, we cannot control, because how are our senses? Senses, you just can't keep it hanging. We all in this form of body, we are in the material world, our senses are attached to material things. So either our senses will get attached to material things. If we want to really control, we have to attach it to higher taste. That is what we read about, right? So now we move to the next slok. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. Momita. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. Nisha means night. Nisha is right. Sarvabhutanam is for all the living entity. Tasyam, at that point of time, Jagrati is awake. That is the awake time of Sanyami. Sanyami is who? Who is a self-control, right? Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani. At that, the Jagrati is again awake. When the entire Bhutani, when everyone is awake, Sa Nisha Pashyato Mune. And who is the Mune? For the Muni, what it is? That is the time of night for Muni, right? So let's read the meaning. What is night for all beings?
What is night for all beings?
Is a time of awakening for the self-controlled.
Is the time of awakening for the self-controlled.
And the time of awakening for all beings.
And the time of awakening for all beings.
Is night for the introspective sage.
Is night for the introspective sage.
So, when you talk about intelligence, right? So there are two types of intelligent people. Intelligent category, rather, you can say, not people, categories, right? One category is intelligent in more achieving towards the material world, material things. And second category of intelligent people are there, intelligence is there, who is actually focused more on self-realization or self-realization, right? So now here he's talking about these two type of intelligent people. How do they behave? So someone who is self-controlled, what they want to achieve, for them, what do they enjoy? They enjoy into spiritual growth. They are connected to God, and they're looking for more growth in the spiritual thing, right? They are much away from the material things. They are very, very much away. Their senses are absorbed more in the material, in the spiritual things. And the intelligent person category who is more materialistic, what they do, it means their senses gets enjoyment from the material things. So for them, what happens? It is their senses will be absorbed mainly in the material thing. That is another class. So here they are talking about Nisha and Jagrati, right? Day and night, right? So if you directly talk about the literal meaning of this is like, something which is night for a spiritual person is basically that awakening time for a materialistic, someone who enjoys the material world, for awakening for that. And someone which is night for them is basically the awakening time for a sage. That is how you can see this shloka. So basically it talks about that the spiritual person or the self-realized person actually, his night is what is enjoyed by the materialistic people. And whatever is enjoyed by the spiritual person is a night for the materialistic person. Yeah, that is what the meaning of night and day talks about here. So let's read the meaning. What is night? We read the meaning, right? Yeah, so that is what Krishna is talking about here. And then next, let's move to the next sloka. I can't see the shloka here in the screen. एक मिनट, नहीं मेरा यहाँ पे है ना. आपूर्यमाणम अचलम प्रतिष्ठम समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामां यं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. You read.
अपूर्वमाणम अचल प्रतिष्ठम
आपूर्यमाणम अचलम प्रतिष्ठम
समुद्रमापं प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्
तद्वत् कामाय प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
तद्वत् कामाय प्रविशन्ति सर्वे नोति न कामकामी न शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. Yeah, so let's read the meaning of this. Here, a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Yeah, so here Krishna is talking about again the characteristics of a sthit pragya. The characteristics of a sthit pragya. He talks about tadvat kamam ya pravishanti sarve. Tadvat kamam ya pravishanti sarve is like, he's giving an example, like, what happens for a sthit pragya, what happens? He's giving an example of an ocean. Ocean is samudra mapa. Samudra mapa is ocean. So what happens to an ocean? We have rivers from all sides, always incessantly flowing into the ocean. Yeah. So that is how the ocean is. From all directions, water is always coming to the ocean. But what is ocean? Ocean is always stable. It keeps on working the way it is. Similarly, a sthit pragya, what happens? It's not that he or she will not have desires. Desires like rivers will be flowing to the person based on the karma, based on the other things. There will be incessant flow of desires. But what will be the characteristics of sthit pragya? Even if all those desires come, he still will be having a steady mind, and with all the control in the mind, it will enjoy the peace. So, sa shantim apnoti. And so when you are in that position, when you are in that state, even though multiple desires are coming from all sides, but still your senses are dedicated to Krishna, and you are focusing on Krishna and your duty, then na kama kami. Like, who is kama kami? When the desires keep on coming, it will also get moved based on desires. This happens, I move there. This happens, I move there. No. Sthit pragya's characteristics is that even like the rivers flowing in the oceans, it remains steady. Similarly, a sthit pragya will also always remain steady. Right? So the question is, why is it that the sthit pragya could be like that? That, although the desires are coming from all the sides, but still it's able to control. Because a sthit pragya, the senses of sthit pragya is all attached to Krishna. So he or she is fully satisfied. He's not looking for anything. Whatever it comes, they always know that what is going to happen will always be good. Whatever will happen, because they have a strong faith that Krishna is there. Why should I worry? Because who is taking care of the person? We think that it is happening because of us. Actually, nothing happens because of us. When we understand this as a reality, that whatever is happening actually is controlled by Krishna, then we will not worry. We will not have any attachment, because we know we are thinking that we can control, but actually so Sthit Pragya is fully satisfied, because he is busy in doing service to Krishna, service for Krishna, and will not bother, because he knows that Krishna is there. But who is not a Sthit Pragya will try to do things and making things happen as for their thinking that he or she is the controller. Yeah. So we go to the next shlok, 71. Vihaye kamanya sarvan pumanscharati nispriha nirmamo nirahankara sa shantim adhikachati. Vihaye kamanya sarvan pumanscharati nispriha nirmamo nirahankara sa shantim adhikachati. Dilip Prabhu, try to speak. Achha, Mataji, you, yeah.
Vihaye kamanya
Sarva.
sarva charita.
Very good. Vihaye kamanya sarvan.
Vihaye kamanya sarvanucharita nisprishya
Pumanscharati nispriha
nirmoma nihankara
nirmamo nirahankara
prashanti gacchati.
sa shantim adhikachati. Very good. Very nice. Yeah. So we say, yeah. So here Krishna says, Vihaye. Vihaye means give up. Vihaye kamanya. Kam is basically desires. All this anya sarvan. All the desires, giving up all desires. Puman. Puman is person. Charati nispriha. Nispriha is desires. Yeah. Nirmamo. Nirmamo is someone. Mam is mera. Someone who has lost the sense of proprietorship. Nirmamo. Nirmamo means who does not believe it is mine. Mamo is mine. Having a feeling that this is mine, right? Nirmamo. Nirahankara. Ahankara is your ego. Without any ego. Sa shantim. Sa, that person, shantim is peace, adhikachati, will get the peace. Yeah, that is what it says. So let's read the meaning. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain peace. Yeah. So here Krishna is saying, everyone wants peace, everyone is looking for peace, but who can get peace? Nispriha, nirmamo, nirahankara. These are the three main qualities. If someone can have that, and a Sthit Pragya has that, will get peace. Nirahankara means, nirmamo means, you know, it is not mine, nirmamo. So if you see, all of us are so much attached. We are attached to everything. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Because we are attached, so we are worried about that, and we don't have peace. Yeah. So first thing is devoid of proprietorship, that this belongs to me. Everything belongs to Krishna. Nothing belongs to me. Yeah. Because it is there today, because of your karma, you have it today. Because of your karma, you will not have tomorrow. It may not be there with you tomorrow, right? Nirahankara means don't have any ego. Today you may be a very rich person. Tomorrow you may become a pauper, right? So don't have an ego, because Raja and rank is only in his hand. He can decide who can be a Raja and who can be a rank. And Nispriha, having no desires, desirelessness. Nispriha is desireless, the stage of desireless. Yeah. So someone who can be at that stage, which is a Sthit Pragya, is at that stage. A person who is a sthit pragya, who is a person with steady mind, is in that stage. And because of it, he can get peace. He can get peace. Shantim, and not someone that is what is he can get the peace. This reminds me of a story. Yeah, my Guruji told me that story, and this is a real incident that happened in Jaipur. Once a big businessman, and he indirectly knew this businessman. So what happened was, this businessman, he was a Jaipur big businessman. And every day, without fail, you have a Mangla Aarti. The first Aarti that happens in the temple is a Mangla Aarti, which is when the gods wake up. It's at 4 o'clock. So every day he used to go to the Govind temple, and Govindji's temple, if you go in Jaipur early in the morning, it is like, any temple, it will be like beautiful when the god wakes up and you have a lot of kirtan and a lot of this. So this businessman used to be there always. Now he had come for Mangla Aarti. Yeah. And then what happened, he was informed that his godown has caught fire. So once he heard that, he went there, and the godown had actually, it was in full fire. It was in full fire, and then he saw that all, his people had already called those fire extinguishers, and all those things were happening. And he looked at the fire, and he knew it so much that nothing will get saved. So nicely, he walked out and he came back to the Govindji temple and started completing his Mangla Aarti. So his friend said that, how could you do that? Yeah, I mean, your godown is burning, and your all crores of rupees things are burning, and you came back to this place. How you had the courage to do that? He said, everything was given by Govindji, and he's taking away anything. It is my karma. He wanted to give, he gave me. It's not in my control. So such people are sthit pragya, who can be so detached and understand that whatever we have is not because of us. If you can have that understanding, and when you understand that, you'll automatically dedicate yourself to God. We all think that what we have is because of us. I have earned it. It's being by cause. Don't think anything you have is because of you. Yes, it's your karma, and it is because of grace of God. So always thank God. And the minimal thing that you can do for thanking God is at least do few rounds of japa. At least do few. Thanking God, that is nothing but thank God and connect to the God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is the only way you connect to God, because you think you have got it. Nothing is yours. Who has given, he can take everything from you tomorrow. We get so much attached to our kids. We get so much attached to our near and dear ones. It is all his mercy. Today he is there, tomorrow is no one there. Always be thankful to him, because it is all there. It's all our karma, and it's all his grace. Yeah. So pray to God, thank God for what you have, get detached, and just remember him. Because not detached means I stop working. That is not the thing Krishna says. Krishna says, whatever happened, karmani avadhikaraste, you have to do your duty. Don't forget to do your duty. You have to do your duty. You cannot say no. You have to do your duty, but do your duty without detachment, because you are not the cause of the result you have got. It is because of so many factors that you have got these results. It is not because of you alone. You are one of the person. Many people think that I have achieved this. You have forgotten how much your mother has prayed for it. Yeah, for what you have achieved. Yeah, so many things. So it is not just you. Whatever you have achieved, there are so many other things. The situation happened that you could do it, right? So never think that you are the cause for the results that you have obtained. It is, so always work with detachment, but do your duty. Never shy away from doing your duty, because if you are doing that, that is a sin. Yeah. So that's what Krishna says here in the 71st shloka, that if you want a real peace, then you have to be nispriha, desireless. Don't desire, because you know whatever he'll do for you is good. Yeah. And if you have surrendered to him, you don't have to worry. Whatever is happening is the good for you. Nothing better can happen. Based on all the conditions that you had, your past karma, this karma and all. But you have surrendered, whatever is happening is good for you. And continue your surrender. Even if you think it's not wrong, continue, because that is the best you could have achieved. Whatever you would have actually got the impact, you are actually getting much less because of him. The difference between a normal person and a devotee is, there's a very beautiful simile that is given about a cat and a and what do you call it? A cat and a rat and a baby. The same cat, when he's taking the rat, how does he takes, right? But the same cat, he takes it from the mouth, right? How does he carry it, right? But the same cat is also carrying its baby from his mouth. And how nicely, how carefully it carries. That is the difference. Yeah. It's all about how much you have surrendered and how much you are taking care. Accordingly, the God takes. He says, I am no one's friend. Krishna says, you listen in 7, I am no one's friend. I am equal to all. But who surrenders to me, who gives their service to me, I care for them. Very natural. If in a group, you have a lot of people, the person who has actually helped you, and there's so much stranger, you always look at the person who has helped you because you know that this person has sometimes helped you, right? So Krishna says, I'm equal to all. But definitely, if you are doing devotional service, he knows that, yeah, this person is there. So he'll be accordingly giving you back. Yeah. So always remember this. So 71 shloka, and that's the last shloka of this chapter. Did anyone read the last shloka or no one read?
No.
71 we had, yeah, 71. Esha Brahmi Sthita Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitva Syamanta Kale Antakale Api Brahma Nirvanam Rachati Esha Brahmi Sthita Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sithva Syamanta Kale Api Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. Vanji.
Esha
Brahmi Sthita Partha
Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati
Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati
Antakale
Sthitvam Syam Antakale Api
Brahma Nirvanam Rachyati.
Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. So let's read the meaning. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life,
That is the way of the spiritual and godly life,
after attaining which
after attaining which
a man is not bewildered.
a man is not bewildered.
If one is thus situated,
If one is thus situated,
even at the hour of death,
even at the hour of death,
one can enter into the kingdom of God.
one can enter the kingdom of God.
So we say Esha. Esha is this Brahma Sthiti. Brahma Sthiti is spiritual and godly life. Right? Partha is Arjun. Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati. Vimuhyati, you will never get bewildered. If you are situated like this, you will not get bewildered. Sthitvam Asya Antakale Api. And if you are in that sthiti, even in the Antakal, during your death, what will happen? Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. You will attain Brahma Nirvana. You will attain the godly, you will get the spiritual kingdom, right? So now, Brahma is the opposite of matter. Brahma is the opposite of matter. Matter is word, and Brahma is basically spiritual. So if we can, this is a concluding shlok of the second chapter. So if you are in this stage what we talked about previously, desireless, nirmamo, nirankara, if you can come to that stage, then what have you achieved? You have achieved the spiritual and God. That is the spiritual and God. That is the Brahma Sthiti. That is the Brahma Sthiti. You are away from, even if you are in this world, even if we all look like we are in this world, living in the mystery, but then actually you are in the spiritual kingdom. If you can achieve that, living in the material world, you are actually you are leading a spiritual life. Yeah. So looking at you, no one will know because you are also working. But the way it is all the mood inside, how you are doing the work, how detached you are from everything, without any desire you're doing. But what you're doing, you're working for Krishna. Even if you're doing an office, you're doing for Krishna. Even if you're cooking for Krishna. Even you're speaking for Krishna. So when you are in that state, with no desire for yourself, but for others, nispriha, right? Nirmamo, thinking nothing is mine, because whatever it is will be taken away tomorrow. You don't even know when it will be taken away, next moment, or what will happen. We don't know, right? Nirmamo. So don't have the thing that is mine, that is mine. Nirahankara, without any ego. Without any ego. If you can, that is the Brahmasthiti. If you can achieve that sthiti, you are in the Brahmasthiti. And if Antakale, while death, if you can't bear death, what will happen? You will actually go to enter the kingdom of God. So with this, we are finishing the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And what I will do is I will actually go to Pad Puran. In Pad Puran, we have talked about the, what do you call it? We have talked about Mahatma. For each chapter, there is a Mahatma. Like what is the glories of that chapter, Mahatma of that chapter. So all our Puran, most of our Puran is something which Parvati is asking Shiva and Shiva is replying. All our Purans are basically mainly in question answers. Most of the Purans are in question answers thing. So if you go to Puran, it's a question. So Parvati asks Shiv, and Shiv will say, and Shiv will normally narrate a story which has happened during some time, who has asked something. So now again here Shiv is saying, so there was a story when Lakshmi ji asked Vishnu ji about, tell me the Mahatmya of the second chapter, and Vishnu ji is narrating a story to Lakshmi ji. And that story I am going to tell you from Pad Puran. So he tells a story about a Brahmin who was in Pandharpur. Yeah, Pandharpur is a very, very famous place. If you have not been there, if you are do visit. I'm still not lucky enough to be there, but it's in my wish list. So Pandharpur, there was a Brahmin in Pandharpur. His name was Dev Sharma. He was a very, very, yogi Brahmin. He used to do a lot of yajna. He used to, do a lot of seva for Atithi. But even after that, he was not having a mental satisfaction. He was not having a peace of mind. And he had a lot of questions. He was not getting that. So one day he saw a yogi sitting there, and he was in a meditating position, and he could see that when Dev Sharma looked at him, he saw that, oh, this person is in so much peace, like peace was coming out of his face, like it was. So when he looked at him, he went to him, waited when his meditation was, he waited and asked, can you please tell me how come you're so peaceful? And I want to know that secret. And I want to actually, I want to know how, understand the Atma Gyan, the Gyan of soul, the knowledge of soul, and the connection of that with Paramatma. I want to know that knowledge. Can you help me? He said, yes. Why don't you go to a place, and I have forgotten the name of the place, the Sopur. Why don't you go to Sopur? And in Sopur, there is a person called Mitravan. There's a person called Mitravan, and he takes care of the goat. He's a goat herd, and he will tell you the science of God realization. Now, as soon as he learned that, he did his, paid his obeisances to the Rishi, and then he went to Sopur. Now, when he went to Sopur, there he was told that you will find Mitravan somewhere near the river. So there was a beautiful forest, and as soon as he entered that place, he started feeling a lot of peace. He was like very, very peaceful. And when it was very peaceful, and then he was looking for Mitravan, and he was told that, he was sitting on a rock near the river. He looked at Mitravan. Mitravan was so beautiful, so peaceful, and he was meditating. So Dev Sharma waited near for his meditation to be over, and then asked, I want to get the secret of peace, and I want to know the relation of Atma Gyan, basically the soul and relation of soul and Paramatma. So he said, okay, I'll tell you a story. So now Mitravan is telling a story to Dev Sharma. Yeah, there's a lot of stories in between, so let's understand. Mitravan is telling a story to Dev Sharma. Yeah, once what happened, I'm a goat herder, and once what happened, I went to this forest with my goat. And when I went there, what happened? A tiger came. And seeing the tiger, all my goat, they dispersed. They started running for their life. I also ran for my life. Yeah, I also ran for my life. But what happened is, I went there, I stood in a place and I was watching. Then I saw one of my goat, she went to the tiger and said that, went to the tiger and waited. Now tiger is looking at the goat but not doing anything. So the goat said, now this is a story of Treta Yuga where the animals could also speak and do, right? So don't relate to Kali Yuga. Yeah. So then this person is saying, the goat said, I'm offering to you myself to you, and I take my meat. Why are you not eating me? So the tiger said, even I don't understand, because I am feeling so peaceful. I don't feel like hurting you. So the goat said, even I am feeling so peaceful. Even I don't feel like, I'm feeling so strong, so brave that I came myself to you, offering you. So why is it so? What is the reason for this to happen? Why don't we go and ask someone who was sitting there? So they came to Mitravan. Yeah. And they said that they again asked that why is it that, a tiger and a goat and everyone is feeling so peaceful. No one wants to harm each other. Why is it so? And Mitra himself has ran away, was looking for the answer. So there was a monkey sitting at the top of the tree. So that monkey said, I will tell you the story. Why the situation is like this here. Then he said, long, long ago, now the monkey is telling the story to Mitravan, tiger and goat. Long, long ago, if you look at this forest, there is a big temple there. And this temple is actually constructed by Brahmaji. And in this temple, there's a Shivling. There's a Shivling. And there was a big rishi called Sakam. The name of the rishi was Sukam. There was a very, very big rishi. And that rishi was very, very austere. And what he used to do is, every day, he used to get flowers from the forest and from water from river and used to pray to the Shivling. Yeah. And years and years and years he did this work. One day, one Atithi came there. Yeah, one Atithi came there. Looking at that Atithi, Sukama was very, very happy and said, finally, my all austerity has been answered, and today you have come. And I know you have come to give me what I am looking for. So he said, what are you looking for? He said, I want to get Atmagyan, and I want to basically, so he said, okay. He took a stone from that temple and he wrote something on that. And he said that you have to recite this every day. And if you do that, you'll get the Atmagyan, the knowledge about soul and relationship with Krishna and the spirit, and you will get peace. So, and then in front of him, that person disappeared. That sage disappeared. So that was what he wrote, was the second chapter of Gita. What he wrote on that stone was get. So now the Sukam, this rishi, kept on reading that, and finally he got it. And wherever this rishi went, I think there are a lot of stories about this in Puran. Wherever this went, it was always peace. There was no thirst, hunger, and everyone got the knowledge of, got the Atmagyan. Now Mitravan said, when he heard the story from the monkey, he went to the temple. He found the stone and he did the same thing on that. And he continued reading that, and the tiger and this everyone went there, and every day they used to go and pray there. Yeah. And because of which, now what he sees in this whole area, there's so much peace that there's no even the people like the tiger and goat, when they also come, they forget their nature, the bad nature, and they all become together and play. So basically, if you want to get the Atmagyan and you want to understand the soul and relationship of soul with Krishna, with Paramatma, and then you want the eternal peace, then we must, that is the Mahatmya of second chapter. So we must read the second chapter every time. Yeah. So with this is the story from Padma Puran. So with this, we will actually close our today's class. Yeah. So let us all pray. So my question is, I'm hoping that you all are, as I said last time, listening just one day is not going to help us. We have to chant, and unless we chant, we will not connect to God, and we will not really surrender, because not only chanting and surrendering, that will only help us to improve spiritually. And when we improve spiritually, whatever we have read slowly, not in one day, it will be years and years. The time when our all dirt under us, that will be cleansed. We will become cleansed, and then once we purify ourselves, we'll be able to achieve good things, right? So let us say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.